everyone. It is time, somehow, for the September garden tour. So this video is going to cover my front deck, which I'm on right now. We get full sun, but faces the west. We are just in golden hour right now. And the deck is 18 by 19 square feet. So we'll do this deck today, and then the next video will be the back deck. But oh my gosh, I know everyone says as you get older, time goes by much faster, but this season went by like that. Now, winter somehow still lasts an incredibly long time, but this season, man, I feel like I am now behind in a lot of things because things are getting so busy. I don't know if I'm busier this summer than last summer, but I feel like I'm behind a lot more. I'm like trying to catch up. I haven't stayed on top of as many garden tasks as I should, but the garden still looks really good for the most part. Not everything. I'll show you the good and the bad, but I still love just being out here. And what makes me really happy is that I haven't yet lost that feeling of kind of wonder and amazement about what I've been able to create up here. So let's go ahead and I will tour you around the front deck and show you everything that is growing and how it looks in September. Let's start off with a little garden sweep right at golden hour here. We are definitely starting to head into fall. I mean, it is technically still summer right now, but the weather is starting to cool, which a lot of the plants are starting to prefer. But let's go ahead with the tour, and we'll begin with my two roses down here, which will not be here permanently. I need to find a better spot for them, assuming they survive over winter. But these are two of the exact same variety. These are the Oh So Easy en Fuego roses. They are unfortunately not in bloom right now. They've maybe had like 3 rounds of blooms for me so far, but the flowers are a very vibrant pink with some light pink variegation. They are absolutely stunning. So 2 things. 1, I'm going to try to overwinter these in the garage and not kill them. I have had an issue with killing roses, I think mostly due to too much moisture in the spring and the roots rotting versus the cold, but if I can overwinter these and not kill them, I think they're going to go down to the garage deck. Now we will come up to my center raised bed. So this is the first monthly tour without the zinnias because I pulled them because they were absolutely covered in powdery mildew. It's the earliest I have ever had to pull my zinnias, which makes me a little sad, but they definitely needed to go. So I've replaced them so far with some perennials and annuals. The perennials I will leave in here over winter. If you hear any fluttering of wings, that is my pigeon friends, but any perennials I will plan to leave in over winter, but then move somewhere else next spring if they survive, because this will be a bed for annual cut flowers again next year, I think. Always up to change my plans. And then I did pop some annuals in here as well. And then this is where I'm still planning to do a blanket of pansies once those are available. So what is in here? I have the tags because when I haven't been with these plants very long, I'm not going to remember the names of all of them. But first over here we have the Super Cal Premium Cinnamon Pachoa. So again, I just love these for the fall color, even though I just pulled petunias from here. Then we have the Sun Seekers Sweet Fuchsia Echinacea. I have one there and one there. And then I also have another kind of fuchsia color echinacea in the back there. That was from Home Depot and didn't say anything but echinacea. So I don't know the variety, but that is what I have going on there. I have a couple salvia, and then I have the marigolds that I just planted. And what I think is my favorite color echinacea right now, it's the Supreme Cantaloupe, and I have 3 of these. But this right here, isn't that so stunning? Because it's a combination of orange and pink on the petals, maybe even a little bit of purple. I'm just so in love with that color. I also have in here some radish seeds that I sowed because I was getting impatient and just wanted to sow some. I still need to go through and thin to about 1 inch, 2 inches apart, but hopefully those will be ready to harvest by the time I can put the pansies in a couple weeks. But even though I was sad to see the zinnias go, I'm not having as many cut flowers for bouquets, still making a good amount, but this color palette is making me much happier for fall. We will continue on around the center raised bed and head over to this section. So first off, my table with my tablecloth, just from Amazon, but I am completely in love with the little bit of extra fanciness it adds to the garden. There's a dahlia in a vase that I need to replace with a fresher looking one. A candle that it's been so warm in the last week, it's actually kind of melted the candle even though it's not lit. And then my phone, because if you're out here and a gardener, you have to stop every 2 seconds to take photos and videos of your garden. But I'm really loving just the extra cuteness of this tablecloth. Standing on the other side now, just to give you an idea, I mean, it is a rectangular, almost square deck, but coming around my center raised bed there, that's my flower cart. I'll go over those specific plants in just a second. This is all of my non-pretty things that I shoved into the corner. I do find that like a black trash can or maybe dark brown, but that fades the best into the background, which is why I chose those. So I have my garbage can. I do have some containers that are going to go on the garage deck, but probably not this year. And then I have a broom, just some other pots. I think I have some tomato cages, but that's all hidden in the back right there. So we'll go over to my flower cart and then to my herb rack. So I love how my flower cart has turned out this year, which is great because I wasn't sure if I would. So this flower cart, it's from Deer Park Ironworks, which is who makes it, but I think they also have it at like Home Depot, Walmart. However, I got this 3 years ago now, so I don't know if it is actually still in stock. But I got it because before I had this here, I had all of my pots just kind of strewn everywhere on the deck, and I wanted something that I could both store things on and grow plants up that looked pretty, and this cart was the best option, and I'm so glad that I got it. So first off, on the top, I have the Morning Glory that is covering the roof, although the Black-Eyed Susan vine is also starting to meet it up there. So I mentioned in the what I will and won't grow again video, I don't plan to do Morning Glory because it never flowers for me, or I get like a couple a season, whereas the Black-Eyed Susan vine just has constant flowers on it. And this is the Coconut Appeal with the white flowers with the black centers. So I love it, but I will say, I think you can kind of see that the Black-Eyed Susan vine is just about here, so it doesn't cover nearly as quickly as the Morning Glory does, so it doesn't grow up as quickly, but it is much more dense. So we'll kind of see how that goes next year. But the reason why I wasn't sure if I was going to like this is because I'm a person who loves all of the bright colors thrown together, and I just went with all white flowers, but I absolutely love it. I think this is my most favorite because there's actually a plan behind it besides just, again, throwing all of the colors everywhere. But if we come up close, I have here the Snow White Gomphrena. I think there are about 3 plants in a 12-ish inch diameter pot, and I think that's the perfect amount of fullness for what I would want. And then what I really like is I planted a window box, a rectangular window box, and then this pot with the same flowers. So I had the Campfire Marshmallow Bidens, I had the Silver Falls Dichondra, and because it's now all covered in flowers, I feel like it almost looks like it's just one planting that's flowing together. Like the Silver Falls Dichondra just flows from the cart all the way down to the ground. So I'm absolutely in love. I might just replicate this next year because of how much I love it. I think there are 2 Bidens in there, one Silver Falls Dichondra. In this one, I think there are 3, definitely 3 Silver Falls Dichondra. Is it only 2 Bidens, I think? I think there's 5 plants total in there. But I really love how this turned out. And then I do have an evergreen down here, which will be overwintered in the garage because I think it's a zone 6. It's a berry box Pyrocomeles, but it's not cold hardy enough to stay outdoors in a pot in Chicago. So that will come to the garage with me. Everything else on here is an annual. Now we will come over to my herb rack with, again, my 8, I think, types of mint, and then my other assortment of herbs. I also got a little cat statue. I don't love that placement for it, but I didn't really have anywhere else to put it, so it's sitting there for now. All of my herbs are in 8-inch diameter pots, terracotta pots specifically. Some could definitely use larger pots, but this is the space I'm giving them for now. So let's come in and take a look at the specific herbs. Up here we have lemon thyme, And then we have the garlic chives, which look how pretty the flowers are. And the pollinators absolutely love them. They are also delicious. So I've really loved growing this. It's my first year doing garlic chives, 100% doing that next year as well. Probably multiple plants. I have my basil mint. Next to that, I have my chocolate mint. I really haven't noticed any like mixing of the flavors yet since I've been harvesting. They still pretty much taste like how they're supposed to. I did get asked that a few times with planting these close together, but I'll let you know if that does change. I have just my regular thyme. Down below, I have my parsley. I have an empty pot that had my leeks, but I already harvested those. Then I have strawberry mint, orange mint, apple mint, which has had powdery mildew twice. None of my other herbs have, but I've cut it back each time and it's flushed back just fine. So hopefully now that one will stay as it is. Then down here I have my lemon bergamot mint. I have oregano. I have lemon balm. I have my pineapple sage. And then down in front I have banana mint and I have my pineapple mint. I definitely need to do some more harvesting off of this. These mints are trying to grow every which direction, which is what mint tends to do. So definitely always grow mint in separate pots away from anything else. But even then, like I've had to trim some of the runners because they were trying to get into that raised bed. So going from the herb rack over into this corner. So I actually do still have the zinnia, which I forgot I still had it. It's by itself in the pot. It does have powdery mildew, but it's one of the floret zinnias. So my only zinnia left is a floret, and this is what she looks like. I feel like on camera the colors aren't quite as vibrant. I mean, it's not a brightly colored zinnia in the first place. It is more pastel-y, but there's more of an ombre from pink to yellow that I think is really showing up. But I'm gonna keep this for now. We'll kind of see what happens. In the bed behind, this is my perennial bed. First time having it, just got the bed from Epic Gardening. Some of the perennials, like the Rudbeckia, were in my center raised bed that overwintered. Some I just planted this spring. So I think you can tell what's taken over. That would be the Rudbeckia. So I need to divide that for next year or move it completely somewhere else. I'm not sure. I do have my milkweed, which is standing tall above it. However, there are at least 5 other plants in here that you can kind of see. Like there's an echinacea. I honestly can't see the other plants anymore. So we'll kind of see. I'm going to wait till next spring. We'll see what grows back. And then I will figure out if I'm going to divide or pull or what I'm going to do at that point. In front, I have my raspberry bush here, which again, I don't think I'm going to have anymore next year because it's too big. I know even here it's kind of off to the side, but it's still in the way. I still stab myself trying to walk by, so that's probably gonna go. And then I have here 2 of the Sunrich Summer Provence sunflowers. These were volunteer sunflowers from last year that I transplanted over here, and they've already had their main bloom. I cut that off. It's kind of branched a little bit, even though they are technically single stem sunflowers. So it kind of looks like a mess right now, but a mess that I really enjoy. Then we have my Gomphrena bed, which is the fullest it's ever been. Now I did start the most variety of colors. However, you can see that most of them are the same color because I think there might have been a mix-up, I'm not sure, but most of these are the Rose, QIS Rose Gomphrena. I have been asked how many plants are in here, and I don't exactly know because I think I originally planted 12. But not to go too far off on a tangent, but half of the Gomphrena I started in much smaller peat pellets than I normally do, and I didn't want to pot them up, so they weren't looking the best when I planted them. So then I planted extra after my initial planting, and then I think all of them survived. So there's at least 12 plants in there, probably more, but I mean, it's doing fine. Coming in close so you can see some of the color variety. So these here are all of that QIS rose color. There is some, which I feel like it's very hard to tell. There's some behind that's a little bit more purple. That is the Lavender Lady Gomphrena. And then I have some Strawberry Fields, a Carmine, There's an orange here. So that is what this bed is looking like. It's definitely the most chaotic it's been, but I also kind of love it. Also Gumfrina, no pest issues, no disease issues, just does that, barely have to pay any attention to it. Over here then, in what leads into my little veggie patch, I have the lemon balm that I don't know how it got here. So this pot originally had strawberry plants that I overwintered. Lemon balm must have gotten in here somehow and completely took it over, because now it's just a giant pot of lemon balm, which I don't mind because I like lemon balm, but I also kind of wanted my strawberries, but that is what we are left with now. I then have my 3 pepper plants. These are all from Burpee. I have a red, an orange, and a yellow, and I definitely need to get in here and harvest. There is a red pepper there. Do I have any orange? Oh, I do have an orange. And then some yellow ones. So we'll actually probably harvest these tonight after I am done showing off the garden. But each of these are in a 7-gallon grow bag, and they each have a 19-inch plant cage, and that works really great for these. I've been growing them in 7-gallon grow bags since I started growing peppers, which I don't know how long ago that was now. Then I have this lemon basil from Burpee, which I have harvested and cut back so many times, and it just keeps growing. And I cut it back far, like here. I've done that at least twice. It's the most vigorous basil I have ever grown. So I'm definitely going to get some more next year. I think they also have just like, oh, I'm trying to give a tour. Oh, that's a different one. I can tell because its wings are not all white. The one earlier has all white wings. Can I help you with something? Would you like to give a tour? This is fine. Everything's fine. Hi. Maybe not that close. All right, I don't know where I was, but I think this is the Everleaf basil. I have lemon. Pretty sure they have non-lemon and maybe other flavors, so definitely going to grow multiples of this next year. I also have a boxwood basil, which I liked because it stayed small, but I shouldn't have planted it next to plants that don't stay small because it's basically been taken over. But what I do like about this one as well is that the leaves are so tiny that if I just want to add like a little bit of basil to something, I can pick those leaves off and just toss it right in. So I don't know if I'll grow this next year, but if I do, it'll be in its own separate pot. Might actually look really pretty that way. See, that's the one that has the white wings. And then also behind this basil is a cherry tomato plant that I got from Home Depot. It is in a 30-gallon grow bag with those other 2 plants. All of my indeterminates I do grow in 30 gallons, but not alone. I would say I'd probably do like 10 to 15 gallons if I wasn't growing it with other things, but they've done really well, and I've had these grow bags now for 5 years. Nothing in this center grow bag. I pulled out a tomato in a recent video. And then in the furthest grow bag, I have another cherry tomato plant, which I need to harvest from. And also, I think there is another boxwood basil buried somewhere in there, but I forgot that I sowed some marigolds that I thought just didn't do anything, and then the flowers started popping up. So I do actually have some marigolds I direct sowed in there. And then on the other side of my little veggie path is the other raspberry that again is just constantly in my way. But I do love the raspberries. So again, I'm going to look for smaller, thornless varieties to replace these. Now let's head back and look at my dahlias, which some of them aren't the healthiest. Actually, these are a little bit better than the back deck, but they are blooming their heads off right now. Now, I don't 100% know either of these varieties because what they said they were isn't what they turned out to be. I definitely know that about this one. I don't usually go for red. I did not choose a red dahlia. So this one I think is a type of cactus dahlia from what I've seen on Google. I need to deadhead that one, but it's blooming its head off right now. And then this, I believe, was labeled Penhill watermelon, but it does not look like my other Penhill watermelon. So I'm not really sure what either of these are, but both of these were overwintered in the garage last year. So that's been really great. I need a deadhead, but the bees also have been obsessed with my dahlias. Speaking of obsessed, while we're over here, this is the raised bed that I just planted with some fall crops of radishes and beets and that one remaining status plant. So I don't think I see any sprouts yet, but again, that was just a few days ago. In this bed between my dahlias are my peas. Look, they are starting to grow. The shoots are coming up. This has maybe been a couple weeks now since I sowed them, but the plan, like always, is to have them climbing up the sunflowers. I will add more twine as they get taller. And then these are, again, the Sunrich Summer Provence sunflowers and a pigeon. And this is what happens when you cut off the main head. I'll get in a little bit closer so you can see just how full of small flowers that is. Isn't this so pretty? I love that happens. So I've been growing this exact same variety here for the last few years. I thought, because it was a single stem variety, that it would not flower. After I cut the head off, I was still going to use it as a trellis, but look at how cool this is. So I absolutely love how that turned out. And then down in front of it, in another pot, is the other, what I believe is some type of cactus dahlia that I did not intentionally buy. I almost forgot about my mini peach. So on the garage deck next year, I'm going to have my little mini orchard. This is a mini peach tree. What are you called? Because I can't remember your name. The Honey Babe miniature peach from Stark Bros. No fruit this year, but it still looks healthy. Also from Stark Bros, I have my Chicago Hardy fig, which is also going to be moved downstairs. I did actually eat a fig off this. I think it was the first fresh fig I've ever had. Very delicious. There's a few growing on it right now, but they haven't changed color yet, but I'm super excited about this. What I'm also super excited about are my two apple trees. I have the Scarlet Sentinel and the White Icicle. They came in a pack that I got last spring from Park Seed. They were a pack because you need cross-pollination of two different varieties. This one bloomed earlier than this one. They just barely overlapped, so I did some hand pollination, and I have an apple. I've actually had 3 total apples. I've eaten 2 already, but isn't that so cool that you can grow apples on a deck? And in the bed behind it is just kind of a mishmash right now. I do have a dahlia that was doing all right. It's a decorative dahlia, but again, it doesn't match what it said on the label, so I'm not sure what it is. It's not in bloom right now, but it is a purple dahlia. I also have some Bonita Shell Pink China Asters, and then for the fall, I did put in some Black-Eyed Susan and Verbena. I will probably also add pansies to here. Oh, and how could I almost forget Bob? This is Bob. My giant volunteer sunflower is the thickest stemmed, tallest sunflower that I've done absolutely nothing to other than just regular watering, but it's gigantic. Now I did cut off the main head, which is over there. Oh, is that why the pigeons are over here? Suddenly it all makes sense. Maybe I should move that. But I did leave the sunflower head out just for the birds to eat. And it also started to branch. So that is how my garden is looking early September over here on the front deck. Not everything was perfect, but I still love it so much. So that is how my garden is looking for early September on the front deck. Back deck will be the next video. I will also link down below the previous month's tours, just in case you want to see the zinnias that are no longer in my center raised bed or how things have changed throughout the season. I also do have monthly tours from at least the last 2 years, maybe 3. Again, time is flying by way too quickly, and I'll link those down below in case you are interested to see how my garden has evolved over the years. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments, and I will see you in the next video on the back deck.